I want your boss's number. Okay. So my dad used to own his own company that unfortunately went under and vanished due to the UK recession in the mid-late 2000s. He was a joiner and knows the trade inside and out. He has told me a few stories and one of them fits here. So my dad and his team had a contract to do some work on someone's kitchen. A very simple job for my dad. But there was an antagonist. The neighbor who we will call Karen. So it was 10 a.m. and Karen opens her window and shouts to my dad, "I am back from the night shift and I have another tonight. You need to keep it down." My dad replies, "I do apologize but we are currently within trading hours and I have a job to do." Karen just scoffs and walks away. Roughly 20 minutes later, Karen comes back. "I told you to keep it down. I have the night shift." My dad reiterates, "As I have already stated, it is trading hours and we have a job to do." Karen comes out of her house and walks up to my dad. "I want your boss's phone number." Now bear in mind, this was my dad's company. As in, he owned it. He was the boss. But instead of playing the "I am the boss" card, he complied and gave Karen his business card with his work mobile number on it. My dad thought she was bluffing and he then got a call less than 10 minutes later and he answered. It was Karen. "I would like to make a complaint. You have workers here and they are making too much noise and I have the night shift tonight and need some sleep. Also one of them was extremely rude to me and needs to be dealt with." My dad replied with, "As I have told you twice already, through your window, it is trading hours, we have a job to do and furthermore, your night shift is of no concern to me or my team." Karen just swore at my dad and hung up and my dad was able to finish the work he was given. He told me that he was expecting Karen to come out and punch him in the face but that never happened. I gave out the local FBI office phone number to someone who wanted to speak to my boss once. I have it memorized because I used to give it to people back in the 90s as a prank. What a wonderful day. The sun is out, the water is shimmering, scallops are chirping. So peaceful. I definitely have given her someone else's number. Tears of joy, tears of joy, tears of joy. Should have given her your mom's number. I eat entire cakes in the car. Anything you want. Just leave the Crocs on. I had a patient in our hospital who was convinced he was Chelsea Clinton. He was complaining about something one day and I promised to look into it. Just because he's ill doesn't mean he's wrong. So I asked him for a number where I can reach him to discuss the matter once I've looked into it. He gave me a number, I investigated like I promised, phoned him later that day and it was answered by a very polite White House operator. There's probably an FBI file with my name on it now. Chelsea never came back to follow up with me. Man shrugging. Hello, welcome to Popcopy. Yeah, well, guess what, I am the manager. I love your dad. Mine had a security business for a long time and I was known for being the youngest employee. If someone came to me asking about how my dad ran things, someone was fucked. Okay, but if I didn't? Idiots. Glad you know your worth. Great story. Do your injectables above nut height. As someone who has worked swing shift, and has issues getting to sleep, I think you could have at least tried to accommodate her. You don't need the 3S. A tired woman asks for a bit of sympathy from other humans. Other humans don't care or try anything to accommodate her, but it's okay, we will dub her Karen and the internet will be on board. I feel sorry for both of them honestly. Night shifts are hell. As a night shift worker since 2016 or so, I can relate to Karen. It can really fuck your day up. But that ending was funny. He was a joiner. Inside and out. One of them fits. You've internalized a joiner's vocabulary. Wanting to sleep doesn't make you a Karen though. Guess someone never worked shifts and wasn't able to sleep 'cause of noise. It drives you FKN mad. Can totally relate. Business hours or not. Working class people shitting on each other due to the demand of greedy billionaires and millionaires does not sound like a feel-good story to me, to be honest. This story was so satisfying. I bet that woman really thought she was about halt work on the kitchen, or get someone fired. Your dad is awesome. Was this the woman your dad encountered? I work nights regularly. I chose to do so because of the ridiculous pay rise in full knowledge that stuff like this would happen, and it does on occasion. It doesn't bother me one bit. The world must go on regardless of the night owls. What did this woman expect? Your dad to wake everyone else up at midnight so she didn't have to listen to it? Let's be real here, it is really shitty for her. Not that it was your dad a problem, but like, yeah, that's how our system pits people against each other instead of the true enemy of them both. A succinct parable of modern capitalism. My roommate works nights. He has earplugs and noise cancel headphones. Problem fixed. I side with Karen on this one. Homes are being built next to mine, and just why do construction tools need to be so loud? I want to nap or sleep in late but can't. This story doesn't make me feel good because I feel bad for people who have to work night shift. Malicious compliance shouldn't be about working class versus working class issues. It should be about sticking it to people in power with entitlement issues. In this case, your dad is the boss and has the most power and entitlement in this scenario. So while he's in the right, this is not satisfying. I mean, she did have a night shift though. That kinda sucks. I feel for her. You have to make it easy for them to mow the lawns for us. Also, my kids were upset that I got a quote for $10,000. That's your problem. If they want a fence, they can put one up on their side. Honestly, if I have the night shift and someone is making noise and doesn't stop when asked, I'd call the cops to make a report. On the way to the job I would have an accident due to sleep, something small but reportable, sue for damage. In my country the first step would be enough anyway. You expect me to believe a story like that? Just wow. People are wild. I used to work at the maximum security prison in Nashville, Tennessee, called Riverbend. One of the inmates asked for a female employee's phone number. I said sure. I wrote out a number and gave it to him. He said thanks Mr. Venterman. Then he says, you sorry bastard. The number I gave him was 1-800-EAT SHIT. I got a laugh out of that. Earplugs are a must if you try to sleep during the day, I would think. I had this happen when I worked at a shoe store. Customers complaining about warranties or return policies or repairs and such would sometimes demand the number to corporate because their complaint wasn't going their way. My boss had the corporate phone number taped beneath the register monitor, so it was always right there. Every associate had their own business cards and my manager would tell us to write the corporate number on the back of our card, or to use his if we didn't want to give ours, and smile while handing it back to the customer. He knew that we were all well trained in corporate policies and he would have our back if a complaint ever came down the line. Very few customers ever followed through with the complaint. Sometimes I feel like that person when I complain about animals in my attic to my landlord, but at the same time I feel justified because those animals can really mess up the house, and they have in the past and they likely will again. Is it more expensive to trap an animal or to fix a hole in the roof and ceiling? As a night shifter myself, I understand her struggle, but for real, an eye mask and earplugs are the night shifter's best friend. No need to make a goddamn scene. Being due manager at 18 is rough. No one believes I'm in charge, ever. I used to be a shift supervisor at a fast food franchise, so not remotely the most in charge. There was an assistant manager, store manager, and owner who I answered to. But I always did my job right and the owner knew he could trust me to accommodate people when it was appropriate. I was the youngest and the one most willing to deal with Karens, so he gave me free license to claim to be whatever position I needed to. More than once I looked someone in the eye and said, I am the store manager, while the actual store manager was right there silently laughing his ass off. Good times. Earplugs. What daytime sleeper doesn't know how to use earplugs? Night shifts are rough, but the daytime world can't grind to a halt. But noise is one part of the roughness that has a pretty good, partial solution. You were confused. Implying your body isn't worth continuing. The way I read this entirely story and a bunch of comments thinking OP's dad was doing a quick construction job but also had to trade on the market. Thought the noise complaint was about him yelling on the phone trading on the stock market. I was very confused with joiner and trading hours. I'm still confused to be honest, but that's life. I own my own business. It's confrontational by nature, so I have people get pissed and take a card from me all the time. I've had this happen to me at least 5 times. It's always a laugh when they realize how much work I as the business owner am doing myself when they call me. Where is the compliance? Your dad is a genius. When someone asks for your manager, it's so easy to just say no. I was an assistant manager at a gift shop for a decade. I couldn't count how many calls I received to complain about how rude I had been. It's amazing how many people mistake rudeness with an answer they don't like. There is no way anyone can say no to a Karen in a way she will think is polite. It must suck working weird hours.